Are you about to graduate or recently graduated with a music degree? Are you feeling simultaneously excited and petrified? Get yourself a cup of tea. Let's have a chat. I've had this talk with so many of my students over the years, and I also remember being a recent graduate, both from undergrad and from my master's program. And there are some things that I wish people had told me, and there are some things that I tell my students frequently. And if you hang with me, the last one is especially important. For real. So I have my cheat sheet. The first thing is that unless you have like money that somebody's going to be supporting you, you're going to need to get a job. And a lot of people stress out about that first job out of college. Like they feel like they need to get into the thing that they just studied, and now they want to make money because they just got their degree. And the reality is that the very first job you get out of school, it only needs to do for sure one thing and hopefully two other things. So the for sure one thing is it needs to put money in your checkbook. That's really, if you just get a job that does that for now, first thing out of school, then check off the box. You're good. Two other things about it that are good. First of all, is that hopefully it would be a job that has flexibility so that if a music opportunity comes along, you can change your schedule at the last minute. So teaching lessons can be really good because you sort of make your own schedule and you can always reschedule lessons if you need to. But also, restaurant work or whatever, getting somebody to cover your shift, that's a little bit more flexible than an office 9-to-5 job where you might have a supervisor that isn't understanding about you needing to take part of the day off work to go do a session or whatever. The other quality is getting a job that doesn't suck the life out of you and make you so exhausted that you have no energy left to work on your music. So those are the three qualities about that first job. The next thing I would say is think about what lifestyle you want to have in your music career. Do you want to be on the road? Do you want to be able to tuck your kids, your future children, in bed at night? Do you want to be able to have time to meet people for lunch? Or do you just want, at any cost to your social life, whatever, you just got to think about how much you want to work and how much you want to be able to have like a regular routine in your day. Because that can inform the type of work that you take and the type of work that you go for. So then when you do get some music work, you want to do your very best, no matter what it's paying. Do your best. You're building your reputation. You're making connections. Don't be afraid to bloom where you're planted. If you get a certain type of work, just do your best at it. And when it's time to move up in terms of the entry-level work and then the next level up, it becomes self-evident when you start turning away the entry-level stuff. It becomes self-evident. I did that when I was first out of school. I started teaching adjunct at a university. I was also teaching private lessons at a music store. I was teaching voice lessons to grade school age kids. And then I was also doing an office admin job part-time. So I had 3 jobs. But then I started to write jingles and I realized if I wrote one jingle, I made the same as I did in a whole month of the lessons at the music store. So I quit that job and I started writing jingles. And little by little, you just start to level up. And it becomes self-evident. Next is knowing that if you change your goals, if you thought you were going to do this one thing and then you realize, you know what, I'm not happy with that. That's not failure, that's self-awareness. I started graduate school fully thinking I wanted to be a film score composer, and within the first semester, I knew that I did not want that lifestyle because I knew I wanted to be able to be available to my future children, and I didn't want to keep the hours that film score composers have to keep. It's brutal. I didn't want that. I finished my degree, and I'm so glad I did. But changing your goals is not failure, it's just self-awareness. Next is brace yourself for the fact that going from a very structured, goal-oriented context to having no one setting goals for you and no one giving you structure, that can feel like a crisis. So I recommend just allowing for that emotionally you might be sort of like, where am I? Who am I? What am I doing with myself? It can be a crisis. So the RAIN technique, RAIN, recognize, acknowledge or accept, investigate, and normalize your emotions. It's going to happen. It's okay. You'll get through it. It's all right. Another thing is stay in touch with relevant people. So even if it's as much as just following them on social media, and think about the generation of people that are hiring youngers are on Facebook. So even if you're not on Facebook for your friends, get on there to connect with the older generation. And then you just make little nice comments on their posts. Just help people remember you exist. Hey, that's a cute dog. Or what a fun vacation. Or OMG, your little cutie pie. Like some comment that requires nothing of them, that isn't needy, but it just makes them remember that you exist. Because people will forget that you exist unless you help them remember you. Next is think about your image that you're putting out there on social media. You want to think of your social media now as your business promotional tool. So if you want to be seen as somebody who does live shows, you need to put stuff on your social media that shows you doing live shows. If you want to be seen as somebody who's hireable for session work, you want to post content that is consistent with the stuff that you want people to hire you for, because it becomes part of your identity. They just may not associate you with whatever that thing is unless you're putting it out there in front of their faces. And this is a really good time to practice the humble brag, which one formula is always just to say, I'm so honored to be in the same room with these amazingly talented people. If it's the humble brag, if it's like, look who I'm with, it's not so showy, but it's like, I'm so honored that I get to share a mic with this amazing talented singer, or I'm so honored that this producer hired me today. It was such an honor to work for him. If you take that approach, it's a humble brag, but it's letting people know, hey, I just did this thing. But it's not braggy. So that's one way to handle social media, but just know that what you're putting out there is your image. And if you're somebody who's coming across as very unprofessional, people check your social media before they hire you. Oftentimes, quite often they do. And then the last one, make your own doors. Don't wait for people to hire you for things. Create your own event, make your own doors. Set up a live show that is a fundraiser for a charity. Reach out to the charity, find out what the requirements are for you to be able to use their name in your promotions, or band together with other artists that are similar to you and put together a crew that can do a themed writer's night at a place, and go to the venue owner and say, between all of us, we can bring in this many people. And because they only care about how many people you're going to bring in the door, because they just want to make money. Or some other online event, some songwriting contest, or some, I don't know, you think of something, but make your own event, because even if no one is hiring you, you still have something going on and you still have something to talk about. And it takes a crap ton of work, but it shows that you're a professional and you're on the ball. I hope this is helpful. You're going to be all right.